In the spring of 1942, the village of Rozwadow, nestled in the southeastern corner of Poland, stood as a testament to the resilience of its inhabitants amid the encroaching darkness of the Nazi regime. With its cobblestone streets and wooden homes, Rozwadow was a place where generations of families had lived, worked, and thrived. Yet, as the shadows of war deepened, the village became a microcosm of the fear and uncertainty gripping Jewish communities across Europe. The Nazi occupation had transformed the once vibrant village into a landscape of dread. The implementation of the final solution had begun, and the specter of deportation loomed large over the Jewish population. Families were torn apart, and the very fabric of community life unraveled. The local synagogue, once a hub of spiritual and social life, stood eerily silent, its doors closed to the congregants who had once filled its pews with prayers and laughter. Dr. Eugeniusz Lazowski, a Jewish physician born in 1913, found himself at the epicenter of this unfolding tragedy. With a deep commitment to his community, Lazowski had dedicated his life to medicine, a calling that now placed him in a precarious position. The Nazis had implemented brutal policies aimed at isolating, dehumanizing, and ultimately exterminating Jews. In Rozwadow, the signs of impending doom were everywhere, with the air thick with tension and despair. As rumors of mass extermination spread, the villagers, both Jews and Poles, were acutely aware of the danger they faced. It was in this climate of fear that Dr. Lazowski conceived a daring plan to create a false typhus epidemic. This ruse was a calculated gamble that he hoped would deter the Nazis from deporting the village's inhabitants. Typhus, a disease spread by lice, was feared by the Nazis, who believed that an outbreak could compromise their military operations. A quarantine, Lazowski reasoned, would effectively shield the villages from the horrors of deportation. Initially, Lazowski's proposal was met with skepticism. The villagers were understandably wary of the risks involved. The plan required them to trust in a deception that, if discovered, could lead to dire consequences. Moreover, the idea of injecting themselves with bacteria, even if harmless, was daunting. Yet, as the threat of deportation grew more imminent, desperation began to overshadow doubt. The villagers faced a stark choice: take a chance on Lazowski's plan or resign themselves to the grim fate that awaited them. Dr. Lazowski's determination was unwavering. He understood the gravity of the situation and the potential consequences of failure. But he also recognized the power of hope and the resilience of the human spirit. With each passing day, the urgency of the situation intensified. The villagers, caught between fear and hope, began to rally around Lazowski, placing their trust in his hands. It was a gamble, but one that offered a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak reality. As desperation took root, the resistance prepared for an extraordinary act of defiance. Dr. Lazowski's plan was not merely a bid for survival. It was a testament to the courage and ingenuity of a community determined to defy the odds. In the face of overwhelming adversity, the villagers of Rozwadow were about to embark on a journey that would test their resolve and reshape their destiny. To fully appreciate the gravity of Dr. Lazowski's plan, it is essential to understand the historical and geographical context of Rozwadow during World War II. Located near the San River, Rozwadow was part of the Lublin Voivodeship, an area that had seen significant Jewish settlement for centuries. Before the war, Jews constituted a substantial portion of the population, contributing to the local economy and culture. The village was characterized by its rich tapestry of traditions, where Jewish and Polish communities coexisted, sharing customs, festivals, and daily life. However, the Nazi invasion of Poland in September 1939 marked the beginning of a brutal occupation that would decimate Jewish communities across the country. The implementation of anti-Jewish laws began almost immediately, stripping Jews of their rights and freedoms. By 1940, many Jewish families in Rozwadow had already been subjected to forced labor, and the atmosphere of fear was palpable. The village, which had once thrived on mutual cooperation, was now a place where neighbors eyed each other with suspicion, and the threat of betrayal loomed large. During the war progressed, the situation for Jews in Poland deteriorated rapidly. The establishment of ghettos and the systematic deportation of Jews to concentration camps became grim realities. In this context, the village of Rozwadow became a potential target for Nazi deportations, as the regime sought to eliminate any remaining Jewish presence in occupied territories. The urgency of Dr. Lazowski's plan was underscored by chilling reports of mass killings and the establishment of extermination camps, which were becoming increasingly common across Poland. Daily life in Rozwadow during this period was marked by a constant struggle for survival. Food shortages were rampant, and the villagers had to navigate the complexities of life under occupation. The black market flourished as people sought ways to obtain essential goods, and clandestine meetings became a means of sharing information and resources. The village's Jewish residents, in particular, faced the dual challenge of maintaining their cultural identity while grappling with the existential threat posed by the Nazis. In this precarious environment, Dr. Lazowski and his colleague, Dr. Stanislaw Matulewicz, recognized the need for a bold strategy to protect their community. The idea of creating a false typhus epidemic was not born out of whimsy but rather a calculated response to the harsh realities they faced. The doctors understood that the Nazis were particularly fearful of infectious diseases, which could disrupt their military operations and lead to quarantines. By leveraging this fear, they aimed to create a protective barrier around Rozwadow. The logistics of executing such a plan were daunting. The doctors needed to procure the necessary supplies, including the Proteus OX-19 bacterium, which would trigger false positive results in standard typhus tests. This required not only medical expertise but also a network of trust within the community. The villagers had to be convinced of the plan's viability and the importance of their participation. By the time the doctors explained the rationale behind the deception, they emphasized the potential for survival. It offered a chance to evade the horrors that had befallen so many others. Initially, the villagers were hesitant. The prospect of participating in a deception of this magnitude was daunting, and the fear of discovery weighed heavily on their minds. Yet, as the threat of deportation loomed larger, the urgency of the situation began to shift perspectives. The villagers understood that their lives depended on the success of this ruse, and slowly, they began to rally around the doctor's plan. The sense of community that had once been strained by fear and suspicion began to re-emerge, as the villagers recognized the power of collective action in the face of adversity. As preparations for the operation began, the village of Rozwadow became a hive of activity. The doctors worked tirelessly, gathering supplies and organizing the logistics of administering the injections. They devised a plan to ensure that the villagers understood the importance of maintaining the ruse, emphasizing that their cooperation was crucial for the success of the operation. The atmosphere shifted from one of fear to one of cautious hope, as the villagers began to see the potential for survival in their shared struggle. In this context, Dr. Lazowski's plan was not merely a desperate act of defiance, it was a reflection of the resilience and ingenuity of a community determined to survive against all odds. The villagers of Rozwadow were about to embark on a journey that would test their resolve and reshape their destiny, united by a common purpose and the unwavering belief in the power of hope. Summer 1942 brought a turning point for the village of Rozwadow. The first positive typhus tests had been reported, and the German authorities responded swiftly. In a matter of days, the village was placed under quarantine, effectively cutting it off from the outside world. For the villagers, this isolation was both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it shielded them from the horrors of deportation. On the other, it subjected them to the constant scrutiny of the Nazis. The quarantine transformed Rozwadow into a fortress of sorts. German soldiers patrolled the perimeter, ensuring that no one entered or left the village without authorization. The villagers, though relieved to be spared from deportation, were acutely aware of the precariousness of their situation. The success of their deception depended on maintaining the illusion of a typhus epidemic, a task that required constant vigilance and cooperation. Dr. Lazowski and Dr. Matulevich found themselves at the center of this delicate balancing act. They continued to administer the injections, carefully monitoring the health of the villages to ensure that no real outbreak occurred. The doctors also had to contend with the growing suspicion of the German authorities, who were keen to uncover any signs of deception. It was a tense and dangerous time, with the threat of discovery looming large over the community. Despite the challenges, the villagers displayed remarkable resilience. They adapted to their new reality, organizing themselves to ensure that everyone had access to food, medical supplies, and other essentials. The spirit of solidarity that had taken root in the spring blossomed into a full-fledged community effort. The villagers understood that their survival depended on their ability to work together and support one another. During the summer war the Nazis intensified their scrutiny of Rozwadow. German officials conducted regular inspections, searching for any evidence that might expose the ruse. The villagers, aware of the stakes, maintained their composure and adhered to the narrative of a typhus epidemic. It was a delicate dance, one that required constant vigilance and an unwavering commitment to the deception. The quarantine, while isolating, also provided the villages with a unique opportunity. With the outside world effectively shut out, they were able to establish a hidden network of support. This network allowed them to share information, resources, and even shelter those who sought refuge from the Nazis. It was a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of a community determined to survive against all odds. The villagers began to develop strategies to communicate discreetly with the outside world. They would send trusted individuals to nearby towns to gather supplies and news, ensuring that they remained informed about the ever-changing landscape of the war. These clandestine missions were fraught with danger, as the risk of being caught by German patrols loomed large. Yet, the villagers recognized that their survival depended on their ability to adapt and innovate. As the summer sun beat down on Rozwadow, the villagers also faced the physical toll of their situation. Food supplies dwindled, and the scarcity of resources forced them to ration what little they had. The doctors worked tirelessly to ensure that the health of the villagers remained stable, but the psychological strain of living under constant threat began to take its toll. Families were forced to confront the reality of their situation, grappling with the fear that their deception could be discovered at any moment. Dr. Lazowski and Dr. Matulevich remained steadfast in their commitment to the villages. They organized regular meetings to discuss their progress and strategize on how to maintain the ruse. The doctors emphasized the importance of unity and trust, reminding the villagers that their collective strength was their greatest asset. In these meetings, they shared stories of hope and resilience, reinforcing the belief that they could overcome the challenges they faced. As the summer wore on, the villagers began to understand the true cost of their survival. The isolation that protected them also cut them off from the world beyond. They heard whispers of the horrors unfolding in other parts of Poland, of ghettos and concentration camps, and the weight of their deception grew heavier. The moral dilemma of living under a lie while others suffered was a constant burden. Yet, the villagers of Rozwadow found strength in their shared humanity. They realized that their survival was not just a testament to their ingenuity but also a symbol of resistance against the oppressive regime. The village became a microcosm of defiance, a community united by the common goal of preserving life in the face of tyranny. As the days turned into weeks, the villagers continued to navigate the complexities of their situation. They developed a system of signals to communicate with one another, ensuring that they could alert each other to any potential dangers. This network of trust became crucial as the threat of exposure loomed ever closer. The villagers understood that their survival depended on their ability to remain vigilant and united. The children of Rozwadow, too young to fully grasp the gravity of their situation, adapted to their new reality with remarkable resilience. They played in the shadows, their laughter a poignant reminder of innocence amidst the turmoil. Parents whispered stories of hope and survival, instilling in their children the importance of courage and unity. The children became a source of strength for the adults, a reminder of what they were fighting to protect. As summer transitioned into autumn, the villages faced new challenges. The changing seasons brought with them a shift in the atmosphere of the village. The once vibrant fields surrounding Rozwadow were now tinged with the melancholy of impending winter. The villagers had to confront the reality that their deception could not last indefinitely. The need for a long-term plan became increasingly apparent, and discussions about the future began to take shape. Dr. Lazowski and Dr. Matulevich recognized that they had to prepare for the possibility of a prolonged quarantine. They began to explore ways to sustain the villages through the winter months, focusing on resource management and community resilience. The doctors organized workshops to teach villages how to preserve food and make the most of their limited supplies. These efforts fostered a sense of agency and empowerment, allowing the villagers to take control of their circumstances. As the first frost settled over Rozwadow, the villagers gathered for a community meeting. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of apprehension and determination. Dr. Lazowski addressed the crowd, emphasizing the importance of unity and resilience in the face of adversity. He reminded them that their survival depended on their ability to adapt and support one another. The villagers listened intently, their resolve strengthening as they prepared to face the challenges ahead. The winter of 1942–1943 would test the limits of their endurance, but the villagers of Rozwadow were determined to hold on to hope. They had forged a community rooted in solidarity and defiance, and as the cold winds howled outside their homes, they knew that together, they could withstand whatever lay ahead. The quarantine had become more than a means of survival. It was a testament to their collective strength and resilience in the face of tyranny. As the snow blanketed the village, the villagers of Rozwadow braced themselves for the next chapter in their extraordinary journey. They understood that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but they were united in their determination to protect one another and preserve their humanity against all odds. In the cold, biting winds of early 1943, Rozwadow stood as an anomaly amid the chaos that engulfed Poland. The village, now under a fabricated quarantine, was a peculiar blend of tension and relief. The villagers, both Jews and Poles, had settled into a routine dictated by the false typhus epidemic orchestrated by Dr. Eugeniusz Lazowski and Dr. Stanislaw Matulevich. The initial euphoria of evading the Nazi deportations had given way to the sobering reality of their precarious existence. The physical toll of the quarantine was evident. Supplies were scarce, and the villagers had to ration food and medicine. The streets, once bustling with the vibrancy of daily life, were now eerily quiet, patrolled occasionally by German soldiers wary of the supposed epidemic. The villagers, confined to their homes, faced the psychological strain of isolation. Yet, amidst the silence, a quiet resilience began to take root. Dr. Lazowski and Dr. Matulevich worked tirelessly, their days filled with the dual tasks of maintaining the health of the villagers and perpetuating the illusion of the epidemic. They conducted regular checkups, ensuring that the villagers appeared convincingly ill when necessary. The doctors' dedication was unwavering, driven by the knowledge that any lapse could lead to discovery and disaster. The emotional strain was palpable. Families lived in constant fear of the knock on the door that could shatter their fragile sanctuary. The villagers had to feign symptoms of an illness that did not exist, a daily performance that wore on their spirits. Yet, in the face of such adversity, the community's solidarity deepened. They organized clandestine meetings, where they shared resources and news from the outside world, fostering a sense of unity and purpose. The villagers' children, too young to fully grasp the gravity of their situation, adapted to their new reality with remarkable resilience. They played in the shadows, their laughter a poignant reminder of innocence amidst the turmoil. Parents whispered stories of hope and survival, instilling in their children the importance of courage and unity. As the months wore on, the villagers began to understand the true cost of their survival. The isolation that protected them also cut them off from the world beyond. They heard whispers of the horrors unfolding in other parts of Poland, of ghettos and concentration camps, and the weight of their deception grew heavier. The moral dilemma of living under a lie while others suffered was a constant burden. As the winter months dragged on, the villagers faced increasing hardships. The cold seeped into their homes, and the scarcity of food became more pronounced. The doctors worked tirelessly to ensure that everyone remained healthy, but the physical and emotional toll of their situation began to weigh heavily on the community. The villagers had to confront the reality that their deception could not last indefinitely, and discussions about the future became increasingly urgent. The emotional toll of their situation was compounded by the knowledge that their survival was built on a lie. The villagers grappled with the ethical implications of their deception, questioning whether their actions were justified in light of the suffering endured by others. Yet, they found solace in the belief that their actions, though deceptive, were ultimately a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. As the harsh winter of 1943 set in, the villagers of Rozwadow faced the future with a mixture of apprehension and resolve. The isolation that had once seemed a curse had become their greatest ally, allowing them to build a community rooted in compassion and defiance. They knew that the road ahead was fraught with danger, but they were determined to face it together, bound by the shared belief that their survival was a testament to the enduring power of hope and humanity. In the midst of their struggles, the villagers found ways to celebrate their shared humanity. They organized clandestine gatherings to mark holidays and cultural traditions, preserving their heritage in the face of efforts to erase it. Music and storytelling became acts of resistance, a way to assert their identity and defy the forces that sought to destroy them. These gatherings provided a much-needed respite from the harsh realities of their existence, allowing the villagers to momentarily escape the weight of their circumstances. As the winter months dragged on, the villagers of Rozwadow continued to navigate the complexities of their situation. They developed a system of signals to communicate with one another, ensuring that they could alert each other to any potential dangers. This network of trust became crucial as the threat of exposure loomed ever closer. The villagers understood that their survival depended on their ability to remain vigilant and united. As the days turned into weeks, the villagers continued to navigate the complexities of their situation. They developed strategies to communicate discreetly with the outside world, sending trusted individuals to nearby towns to gather supplies and news. These clandestine missions were fraught with danger, as the risk of being caught by German patrols loomed large. Yet, the villagers recognized that their survival depended on their ability to adapt and innovate. As the first signs of spring began to emerge, the villagers of Rozwadow faced a new set of challenges. The thawing ground brought with it a sense of renewal, but it also heightened the urgency of their situation. The villagers understood that their deception could not last indefinitely, and discussions about the future became increasingly pressing. They began to strategize about how to navigate the changing landscape of the war, recognizing that their survival depended on their ability to adapt to new realities. Dr. Lazowski and Dr. Matulevich continued to lead the community with unwavering determination. They organized meetings to discuss their plans for the future, emphasizing the importance of unity and resilience. The villagers listened intently, their resolve strengthening as they prepared to face the challenges ahead. They understood that their survival was not just a testament to their ingenuity but also a symbol of resistance against the oppressive regime. As the days grew longer and the air warmed, the villagers of Rozwadow braced themselves for the next chapter in their extraordinary journey. They had forged a community rooted in solidarity and defiance, and as the world outside continued to change, they knew that together, they could withstand whatever lay ahead. The quarantine had become more than a means of survival. It was a testament to their collective strength and resilience in the face of tyranny. As the year 1943 drew to a close, Rozwadow had transformed into an unexpected refuge. The village, no longer a small dot on the map of occupied Poland, had harbored over 8,000 Jews and Poles seeking safety from Nazi persecution. The prolonged quarantine, initially a desperate measure, had inadvertently created a sanctuary amid the storm. Yet, this sanctuary came at a steep price, as the villagers grappled with the moral implications of their survival. The isolation that shielded the villagers from deportation also allowed them to establish a hidden network of support. Families opened their homes to those in need, sharing food, medical supplies, and information. The villagers, bound by their shared plight, forged a community of mutual aid and solidarity. They organized clandestine efforts to assist others in hiding, becoming a beacon of hope for those who had lost everything. However, the threat of exposure loomed large. The Nazis, aware of the growing number of illegal Jews in hiding, intensified their search efforts. The villagers lived under the constant shadow of discovery, knowing that a single misstep could unravel their carefully constructed facade. The moral complexities of their situation became increasingly apparent. The villagers grappled with the knowledge that their survival was built on a lie, while outside their borders, countless others faced unimaginable suffering. The ethical dilemma was profound, yet the villagers found solace in the belief that their actions, though deceptive, were ultimately a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They reasoned that their survival was not just for themselves but also for the memory of those who had perished in the Holocaust. Dr. Lazowski, at the center of this intricate web of deception, emerged as a symbol of hope and defiance. His unwavering commitment to the villagers' survival inspired those around him, and his ingenuity became a source of pride for the community. The villagers rallied around him, united in their determination to protect their sanctuary at all costs. Yet, the burden of leadership weighed heavily on Lazowski. He often found himself wrestling with the moral implications of their deception, questioning whether the ends truly justified the means. The weight of responsibility was immense, and he knew that any slip could lead to catastrophic consequences. The villagers also began to reflect on the broader implications of their actions. They understood that their deception was not just a means of survival, it was a form of resistance against the Nazi regime. By creating a false epidemic, they were actively subverting the oppressive system that sought to annihilate them. This realization fostered a sense of agency among the villagers, empowering them to take control of their fate in a world that had stripped them of their rights and dignity. However, the psychological toll of living under constant threat began to manifest in various ways. Anxiety and fear permeated daily life, as villagers constantly scanned their surroundings for signs of danger. The stress of maintaining the ruse weighed heavily on families, leading to moments of tension and despair. Yet, amid the fear, there were also moments of joy and resilience. The villagers found solace in shared meals, storytelling, and cultural celebrations, which served as reminders of their humanity in the face of dehumanization. As the winter months dragged on, the villagers' resolve was tested time and again. They faced food shortages and dwindling supplies, forcing them to ration their resources carefully. The harsh conditions of winter only exacerbated their struggles, yet the community's spirit remained unbroken. They banded together to support one another, sharing what little they had and ensuring that no one was left behind. The villagers also began to organize clandestine gatherings, where they could share news and updates from the outside world. These meetings became crucial for maintaining morale and fostering a sense of unity. They discussed strategies for survival, shared stories of hope, and reflected on the sacrifices made by those who had come before them. In these moments, the villagers found strength in their shared experiences, reinforcing their commitment to one another and their collective survival. As 1943 came to a close, the villagers of Rozwadow stood at a crossroads. They had managed to survive against overwhelming odds, but the future remained uncertain. The threat of discovery loomed larger than ever, and the moral complexities of their situation weighed heavily on their hearts. Yet, they faced the future with a renewed sense of purpose, united by their shared belief in the power of hope and humanity. They understood that their story was not just one of survival, it was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of tyranny. By 1944, the village of Rozwadow had undergone a profound transformation. What had begun as a desperate bid for survival had evolved into a community united by resilience and defiance. The villagers, once disparate individuals bound only by circumstance, had forged a collective identity rooted in their shared struggle against the oppressive Nazi regime. The bonds formed during the quarantine solidified into a strong community, with Dr. Eugeniusz Lazowski at its heart. His leadership and ingenuity had not only saved lives but also inspired a spirit of resistance that permeated the village. The villagers, emboldened by their shared experiences, began to see their situation not merely as a survival tactic but as a testament to their shared humanity. They understood that their deception, while fraught with moral dilemmas, was an act of defiance against the forces that sought to erase their existence. The villagers' transformation was evident in the everyday acts of kindness and solidarity that defined life in Rozwadow. Neighbors supported one another, sharing resources and information, and organizing clandestine efforts to assist those in hiding. The villagers' resilience was a testament to the power of community, a beacon of hope in a world overshadowed by fear and oppression. They began to hold secret gatherings to celebrate cultural traditions, preserving their heritage in the face of efforts to erase it. Music and storytelling became acts of resistance, a way to assert their identity and defy the forces that sought to destroy them. As the later years of the war dragged on, the villagers' defiance took on new forms. They organized clandestine gatherings to celebrate cultural traditions, preserving their heritage in the face of efforts to erase it. The villagers also began to document their experiences, creating a record of their struggle that would serve as a testament to their resilience for future generations. The psychological toll of their situation, however, remained a constant presence. The villagers grappled with the knowledge that their survival was built on a lie, and the weight of this deception weighed heavily on their conscience. They often reflected on the moral complexities of their actions, questioning whether their means justified the ends. Yet, they found solace in the belief that their actions, though deceptive, were ultimately a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Dr. Lazowski, as the figurehead of this extraordinary community, faced his own internal struggles. He often found himself wrestling with the moral implications of their deception, questioning whether the ends truly justified the means. The burden of leadership weighed heavily on him, and he knew that any slip could lead to catastrophic consequences. Yet, his unwavering commitment to the village's survival inspired those around him, and his ingenuity became a source of pride for the community. In the later years of the war entered its final stages, the villagers of Rozwadow faced an uncertain future. The threat of discovery remained ever present, and the moral complexities of their situation weighed heavily on their conscience. Yet, they found strength in their shared purpose, knowing that their actions, though fraught with risk, were a testament to the enduring power of hope and humanity. As 1944 drew to a close, the villagers of Rozwadow faced the future with renewed determination. They had transformed their fear into a collective identity rooted in resilience and defiance, becoming a symbol of hope and ingenuity in the face of tyranny. Their story was a testament to the power of community, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can shine brightly. The legacy of Rozwadow would endure long after the war had ended. The villagers' experiences became part of their collective memory, shaping their understanding of the world and their place within it. They emerged from the war not just as survivors but as a community bound by shared experiences, united in their commitment to preserving their heritage and honoring the memory of those who had perished. As the world began to rebuild in the aftermath of the war, the story of Rozwadow served as a powerful reminder of the enduring power of hope and humanity. It was a story of ordinary people who, faced with extraordinary circumstances, chose to stand together and defy the forces that sought to destroy them. Their legacy was one of courage and compassion, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of community. In the years that followed, the villagers of Rozwadow would carry their story with them, sharing it with future generations as a reminder of the importance of standing together in the face of injustice. They understood that their survival was not just a testament to their ingenuity but also a symbol of resistance against the oppressive forces that sought to erase their existence. Their legacy would continue to inspire, a testament to the enduring power of hope and humanity in the darkest of times. In the aftermath of World War II, the village of Rozwadow and the extraordinary actions of Dr. Eugeniusz Lazowski became emblematic of the resilience and ingenuity that characterized the human spirit during one of history's darkest chapters. The war left an indelible mark on Europe, and the scars of the Holocaust were felt deeply by survivors and communities alike. Yet, amid the devastation, the story of Rozwadow emerged as a powerful testament to courage, compassion, and the unyielding will to survive. As the dust settled in the wake of the war, survivors began to share their harrowing experiences, and the narrative of Rozwadow began to take shape. The villagers who had once lived in fear of deportation now found themselves in a world grappling with the enormity of the Holocaust. The collective memory of their ordeal became a source of strength, a reminder of the lengths to which they had gone to protect one another. The story of Dr. Lazowski and his community resonated far beyond the borders of their small village, inspiring others to remember the importance of solidarity in the face of injustice. Dr. Lazowski, who had once been a humble physician, became a celebrated figure in the post-war years. His actions were lauded as a remarkable example of courage and ingenuity, and he was recognized by various organizations dedicated to preserving the memory of the Holocaust. In 1965, he was honored by Yad Vashem, Israel's official memorial to the victims of the Holocaust, and was recognized as righteous among the nations, a title bestowed upon non-Jews who risked their lives to save Jews during the Holocaust. This recognition not only honored Lazowski but also served as a powerful reminder of the moral choices made by individuals in the face of overwhelming evil. The legacy of Rozwadow extended beyond individual recognition. The village itself became a symbol of hope and resilience, a place where the bonds forged during the war endured long after the conflict had ended. The shared experiences of the villagers became part of their collective memory, shaping their identity and instilling in them a deep sense of pride and purpose. The story of their survival was not merely a tale of evasion, it was a testament to the strength of community and the power of human connection. As the years passed, the villagers of Rozwadow sought to commemorate their experiences and honor those who had perished during the Holocaust. Memorials were erected, and annual gatherings were organized to remember the lives lost and to celebrate the resilience of those who survived. These commemorative events served as a poignant reminder of the importance of remembrance, ensuring that the stories of the past would not be forgotten. The villagers understood that their narrative was part of a larger tapestry of history, one that demanded acknowledgement and reflection. The impact of Rozwadow's story reached far beyond its borders. It became a focal point for discussions about resistance during the Holocaust, challenging prevailing narratives that often depicted Jews solely as victims. The villagers' ingenuity and defiance in the face of Nazi oppression highlighted the complexities of survival and the moral dilemmas faced by those living under tyranny. Scholars and historians began to explore the nuances of Jewish resistance, drawing on the lessons of Rozwadow to illuminate the broader context of the Holocaust. In the decades following the war, the story of Rozwadow found its way into educational curricula, ensuring that future generations would learn about the resilience and courage displayed by Dr. Lazowski and the villagers. Schools and universities incorporated their narrative into lessons on the Holocaust, human rights, and the importance of standing against oppression. The villagers' experiences served as a powerful reminder of the consequences of indifference and the necessity of collective action in the face of injustice. The legacy of Rozwadow also inspired artistic expressions, with writers, filmmakers, and artists drawing on the themes of courage and humanity that defined the village's story. Documentaries were produced, chronicling the lives of the villagers and the extraordinary measures they took to protect one another. These artistic endeavors preserved the memory of Rozwadow and sparked conversations about the moral responsibilities of individuals in times of crisis. As the world moved into the 21st century, the lessons of Rozwadow continued to resonate. The story became a vital part of discussions surrounding contemporary issues of human rights, refugee crises, and the importance of standing up against oppression. The villagers' experiences served as a reminder that the fight for justice and dignity is ongoing, and that the spirit of solidarity can transcend borders and time. In recent years, the village of Rozwadow has become a site of pilgrimage for those seeking to understand the complexities of the Holocaust and the power of human resilience. Visitors come from around the world to pay their respects, to learn about the village's history, and to honor the memory of those who suffered and survived. The local community has embraced this influx of visitors, recognizing the importance of sharing their story and ensuring that the lessons of the past continue to inform the present. The legacy of Dr. Eugeniusz Lazowski and the villagers of Rozwadow is a powerful reminder of the enduring impact of courage and compassion. Their story is not only one of survival but also of defiance against tyranny, a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. It serves as a call to action for individuals and communities to stand together in the fight against injustice, to uphold the values of empathy and solidarity, and to remember that even in the darkest of times, hope can prevail. As we reflect on the legacy of Rozwadow, we are reminded of the importance of remembrance and the responsibility we bear to honor those who suffered and perished during the Holocaust. The story of Dr. Lazowski and the villages is a testament to the power of community, a reminder that in the face of oppression, the bonds of humanity can shine brightly. It is a legacy that continues to inspire, urging us to confront the challenges of our time with courage, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to justice. In conclusion, the legacy of Rozwadow is a profound narrative of resilience, hope, and the enduring power of the human spirit. It is a story that transcends time and place, reminding us of our shared responsibility to stand against injustice and to protect the dignity of all people. As we honor the memory of those who lived through the Holocaust, let us carry forward the lessons of Rozwadow, ensuring that the spirit of solidarity and compassion remains alive in our hearts and actions.